is Wednesday, June 20th, 2018. NXT is in the books, and you are tuned into This is NXT here at One Wrestling Video. My name is Jargo. I'm the One Wrestling digital reporter for NXT, and I'm here to take a look back at tonight's episode as well as the fallout from TakeOver Chicago. Pay no attention to this week's studio setup as the Locker Room Studios are going through a bit of renovation. Hopefully we have that all set up for you here next week. Tonight's show, of course, filmed prior to TakeOver Chicago, so I was there for the filming of the matches themselves. If you would like to hear my review of TakeOver Chicago, please visit hackerhameen.podbean.com as myself and One Wrestling Zone, Big Ray Hernandez, broke down both TakeOver Chicago as well as Money in the Bank this past Monday in the Locker Room. For tonight, let's take a look at the fallout as well as the two matches that we had filmed for tonight's episode. The show kicks off with a recap of TakeOver Chicago, no real surprises there. Then we get a reset opening of our commentary team, Vic Joseph and Percy with Nigel. Of course, these matches were filmed before TakeOver when Morrow was off doing Showtime Boxing. Look very much forward to having Morrow back next week, as he has been sorely missed at TakeOver and on this episode. Your first match of this week, Dakota Kai takes on Bianca Belair. This match, of course, set up last week on that episode of NXT. I thought it was interesting that this match was actually filmed second this past Saturday, but they let off the episode with it. Nice piece of editing there for the TV product. Dakota looking to get some momentum back and get herself back into the championship hunt, while the EST is, of course, establishing herself as a threat inside of the women's division. I was at TakeOver Chicago, so of course I saw this match filmed live. I know how it ended, but watching the replay, I still found myself yelling, "Come on, Dakota!" They're really doing a really nice job of building both of these women up. Belair is the prodigy who still makes some rookie mistakes, and of course Dakota as that white meat babyface. I'm not really sure how well it works amongst the NXT crowd though, as they just tend to cheer good talent as opposed to babyfaces or heels, but I see huge things in store for both of these girls. They both have great looks, distinct personalities, and can really go inside of the ring. Really enjoyed this match live, and even enjoyed it more on the TV broadcast. Belair gets the win here with the Torture Rack Michinoku driver combination. Not really sure if there's a name for this move yet, but she absolutely needs one as it's a great finish. Belair gets the big win and continues to elevate herself inside of the women's division. Then we get a video recap package of the Velveteen Dream versus Ricochet, as well as comments after the match from both competitors. Ricochet up first. He informs us that he's not just some cool flip. He's not just some gif on the internet. The spotlight now belongs to him, the one and only Ricochet. We then go to a disjointed Dream backstage who simply says, "The dream is over in Chicago," and then he walks away. Not really sure what the plan is here. During TakeOver, it was presented as though this match was going to be a #1 contenders match, but neither one referred to either title. I really need mission statements here from these guys unless this program is just going to continue, which doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me either. We come back from a commercial with a recap package featuring Nikki Cross and Shayna Baszler. I know this match has received some polarized reaction online, some really liking it, some absolutely hating it. I personally love the match. WWE.com cameras catch up with Baszler as she is backstage celebrating alongside Duke and Schaefer, two of the other MMA horsewomen, of course Rousey being the fourth. Baszler says, "You know how you beat chaos? You put it to sleep." And then her and the horsewomen walk away. Who will the next opponent for Baszler be in Brooklyn? Who do you want to see as the challenger for Baszler in Brooklyn? Hit me on Twitter at NotJargo. Let me know your thoughts. Personally, I'd love to see Candice LeRae, but I'm just a Candice LeRae mark. What can I say? Yet another video recap package, this time as Aleister Black takes on Lars Sullivan. Black, of course, retaining over the Rocky Mountain Monster in Chicago. This was a very well done highlight package, and I think that it actually made the match look better than it really was. We then get a WWE exclusive backstage at the Allstate Arena. Aleister walking back to the locker room. Cameras catch up with him. They're trying to ask him questions, and the champion just seems emotionally and physically exhausted, and he cannot talk right now and just keeps on walking. Could this play into the Black character going forward? Is he a champion ripe for the picking heading into Brooklyn? I guess we'll have to see how the story develops. We go to another commercial break, and we're back to another video recap, this time featuring Undisputed Era and the 1-2 punch, Oney Lorcan and Frankie Kazarian, Danny Burch. SCU! You see the theme of these post-takeover shows. Lots of video recap packages. Of course, cameras catch up with the challengers backstage, disappointed, still focused on the prize. Really good stuff here from Birch and Lorcan, really selling the disappointment of losing a big match. Love what these guys are doing, and I look forward to where they go from here. I know myself personally, I feel like this is kind of our replacement for DIY. DIY was, Gargano and Ciampa, the do-it-yourself attitude, grassroots campaign, not necessarily the best-looking guys, not necessarily the greatest personalities in the world, but you see where Gargano and Ciampa are now. Could we expect the same from Birch and Lorcan? Finally, we get our last video package of the night. This one, of course, recapping Gargano and Ciampa 2, the match that completely stole Money in the Bank weekend. 392 days of bad blood, all culminating where it began. I'm not really sure what more I can say about this match than what's already been said. No backstage comments from either one of the parties here, and I'm intrigued where they go from here. I'm done. I don't want to see another match between these two in Brooklyn. I'm ready to move forward and let this thing cool off a bit. I even love the idea of Johnny Gargano getting called up to Monday Night Raw, which may not seem like a whole lot on the surface, but that leaves Tommaso Ciampa and Candice LeRae stuck in NXT. I want to see an angle of Johnny getting called up to Raw and not wanting to go. I want to see him begging Kurt Angle, and then I want to see him begging Stephanie McMahon until he finally gets to Hunter himself and says, you have to let me go back to NXT. It's not safe for Candice. Just think you could have like 6 months of television doing that. It'd be fantastic stuff. We get then an interview, I guess, with EC3 at the NXT offices. We've seen this several times now. They like to shoot at this location. It just doesn't make any sense why you would have reporters and camera crews just sitting around the front door at NXT waiting for somebody to show up. Doesn't make any sense. It seems as though he has some demands for Mr. Regal going forward, and I'm very hopeful that it is a match with Adam Cole for the North American Championship and that he is not going after Aleister Black at this point. Very intriguing what direction they go with EC3 as he turns NXT into NX3 heading towards TakeOver Brooklyn. Finally, we get our main event of the night, which was actually the very first match that I saw in Chicago over the weekend. The artist formerly known as War Machine take on the artist formerly known as TM61, now simply The Mighty, along with their new bad attitudes. The Mighty take out Hanson and Rowe before the bell even rings, but they make the mistake of backing off. Rowe tells the referee to ring the bell, and the assault is on. Hanson and Rowe go to work on Thorne and Miller. You get a back and forth going between these two teams. This match was great. Really enjoyed this with the Mighty getting one up from the onset on the artist formerly known as War Machine as they're playing catch-up. Once we get the hot tag from Warbeard Hanson, this basically becomes a squash. It's a great comeback story told here, which was certainly not the direction that was expected when this match was announced. Great stuff from both teams, nice feature for the Mighty, but War Machine absolutely needs the win here because I think it's time that they go after the tag team champions. Although, there has been some breaking news from over in London. I guess WWE stooged this off, so I guess I can talk about it here at OneWrestling.com. Evidently, the Undisputed Era have lost the Tag Team Championships to Mustache Mountain. This, of course, all part of the NXT UK brand launch. That's really what's going on here. It wouldn't even surprise me to see Undisputed Era take these things back at the next set of tapings. I don't understand it. You just had TakeOver. They just had this great match with Birch and Lorcan. You go over to the UK and you just hotshot the titles to Mustache Mountain. If you wanted to put the titles on Mustache Mountain, I'm fine with that. But give me a full-on program. Give me something I can see in real time. Don't do it and then stooge it off on Twitter. I hate it when WWE does that. Absolutely hate it. I guess this is going to air sometime at the end of the month as part of the UK tournament. I just think it's stupid. Absolutely stupid. So I guess that's going to wrap things up for this week. Let me know your thoughts on TakeOver Chicago as well as tonight's show by hitting me on Twitter at NotJargo. Then you'll be able to find myself in Huckleberry #1 RBV this Friday over at hittingthemarks.podbean.com. Find us on whatever app you use to listen to your podcast. Of course, this is NXT. We'll be back here at One Wrestling Video next Wednesday night with your look back at next week's episode as we begin the build to one of my favorite shows of the year, TakeOver Brooklyn. Thanks for watching, hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you next week. For now, I'm off like a prom dress. See ya!